Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Speakeasy Blues. So in the game of Speakeasy Blues, you are indeed running a speakeasy. We're back in the 1920s in America. The first thing is I've set the game up as a two-player game. Each player got two of these cards, which tells you which speakeasy you're running and gives you your starting equipment. So this player has 1 bottle of wine, 3 money, 1 of the police markers or favor markers, and starts on number 1 on their reputation track. Each person is going to start with a different combination of stuff. Let's get straight into it. The basics of this game is you have a dice pool and you have dice on the board. On your turn, you're going to take 2 dice off the board and roll them. So let's just say we take those 2 and roll them. You're then selecting 2 of the same colored dice. So you've got 3 options there, and placing them onto the board. So at the moment, it's probably worthwhile either doing that one or that one, simply because if I take that one of these spots has already been filled up. Let's say I take this one. I can do them in any order I like, but this little symbol here means it's going to cost me 1 reputation to place a die there. I then do what it says, which in this case is take 2 wine bottles, and then you place the other die of the same color. I've placed this one here. Notice this one costs me reputation, but it also brings in 1 money. And what that one allows me to do is choose one of these 4 cards. And it's probably worthwhile just choosing that one to go there. And that's realistically all that you do on your turn. Obviously the spot gets filled up and the next person has their turn. If the dice aren't showing what you're looking for when you're looking to do your turn, you can spend 1 money to re-roll everything that's in that pool, and then you need to place it from what has been rolled. Anytime that you put out dice that are already covered, so let's say, for example, you desperately wanted the gun, and you did that, and you did the gun thing, this one would have to go here, but that spot is already taken. You could put it there, but let's just pretend for the moment that that's taken up. You would need to re-roll that die to place it somewhere, but you don't get to do the action of the spot where you placed it. So what does each area of the board do? Let's run through it. This one is obviously gain 1 of the cards that I just did and then replace it. This one is the same. You're gaining 1 of the 4 available cards and then replace it. Some of these cards will have immediate effects, in which case you do them before you place the card. This card, for example, has an immediate effect where you're going to swap 2 of the cards that you've got down here before you place this one. Others of them allow an extra space for dice to be placed. And so if this player happened to take this card in and place that on a spot, they could, if this die face had been rolled, use it there. Notice the cross out of the wine. They're going to spend 1 of their wine bottles to use the spot, and then they would gain 1 of the favors of their choice. So he might take that. I'll talk about them in a second. And gain 1 of the open cards from that deck. Now, when you gain the open cards from that deck, let's say he takes this one, question mark means any of the die faces, he can definitely place that over the top of the guy that's already there, or the card that's already there. Now, what that means is the benefit that was showing at the bottom no longer exists. It's only that number at the top that will come into play at the end of the game. In fact, at the end of the game, these benefits only score if they are on top of a pile. There are 4 possible piles that you can have running, but to place the first card here is going to cost you money. To place the first card here is going to cost you a second money, or 2 money, should I say. Once you have paid that money, you can continue to add cards into those decks or piles as you wish. Okay, moving forward. This spot, once again, it will cost you reputation, but you can take 1 of these 2 elements. What those elements allow you to do, this one, if you have it and you play it, it allows you to change the die face of 1 of the dice before you place it, and you'll get 2 money by doing so. This one allows you to take a chosen action a second time. So if I place a die there, I can take an action, which is taking one of these and getting 2 money. I can do that again to take one of them and get 2 money. So I might as well jump up here. The one that you cover, notice this one is not costing any reputation. These two are. This is about who has the most markers at the end of the game. So whoever gets the most markers at the end of a game will get 10 points. I believe the second most markers is 6 points, unless you're playing a 2-player game, in which case it's 6 and 1. Please feel free to correct me if that is incorrect on those numbers, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is off the top of my head. You'll also gain the money that is showing on this card. So top line, middle line, bottom line. The other element that I haven't gotten into is this one. What happens here, so when you have a gun die, you're going to select the top 3 cards off the deck, have a look at them and select which one you wish to have happen. What happens with these cards? Some of them are police, which are these, the ones with the police symbol in the top left corner. Some of them are from one of the 2 mobster families. When you choose which card you wish, you're going to place that face down. At any point on a future turn, you can flip that over to action the ability. And that ability that's showing is for one of the other players to select one of these cards and put it into their speakeasy. Now, when you flip over a gangster, everyone else has the ability, if they happen to have cards face down, to flip over a police card, which would kill the gangster card. It doesn't necessarily kill the card, but it stops the effects from happening. This marker means that that's a once per turn effect, so you can swap money in for a double, or you can swap a double in for money once every turn while that guy is face up. Now you will also notice that there are some negatives and positives on the bottom of these cards that are coming out. What they are talking about is a soiree. So you can take any die that you had and place it on the soiree. What that does is allows you to look at these cards. This little plus symbol means that you move this to the right. So I've got 2 pluses there at the moment. This negative symbol means you move it to the left. If you happen to have any of these dollar symbols, that gains you 1 money. Now that's just for the player who actually plays in the soiree. I noticed that I used both boards just then, but it is just for the player who plays the soiree. So this player puts up, he would get the bonus, this one would not. So if that was there, they would get the 1 extra money. And that's the essence of the game. The game will go for 10 rounds, which is the size of this deck. There are some potential benefits and things going on up here. So these 2 cards show what is going to happen in future rounds. At the end of this round, that one would get moved off, those would move on, and this one would flip over. This card is showing what one of the scoring things is at the end of the game. There are 3 of these cards in this deck. And so whoever has the most of the propellers is going to get 4 points at the end of the game. This card, when it gets here, as soon as it gets here, everyone gains the benefit. So in this case, everyone gets up to reputation when it comes through. And this one, when it comes through, is an effect that is active for the whole round. And basically this one, once it's there, means that this player can use that action. But there's a whole bunch of those cards, so I won't go into them. Please look up what each of them mean. At the end of the game, the scoring that you're looking for is the favors. So whoever has the most of each of them, there are 3 different favors, will get 10 points, and the next person down will get 6. In a 2-player game, it's 6 and 2. You must have at least 1 in order to get the 2 points, or to get the lower level of points. If you don't have any, you don't count as having any favor with those people. Then you go to the contests, which are these. So whoever has the most cards of the listed category, or whatever it is of the listed category, will get the 4 points. If there's a tie, that's split evenly. You then score points equal to where your reputation track is. Notice the further up this track you go, the higher the points value that's on that. You then get a point for each collection card. These are the collection cards. So this player would have 2 points at the moment. Then you score points for any of those endgame scoring cards that are on the top. So this card is getting 2 points. If there are other horse cards anywhere in the piles, they would add up to this one. You can only score one of those cards in each game, meaning that if this is what your board looked like, you would only score that once. So it's better to have one of these cards below another to get the 3 points, because the other 3 doesn't count. Then you score 1 point for each of the wine bottles or hooch that is left at the end of the game, and 1 point for every 3 money. Whoever has most points is the winner. If there is a tie, it's the player with the most money is the winner. So that is Speakeasy Blues. Please go ahead and watch my gamesplay to get a feel for how the game actually plays. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you'd like to be gamesplayed, please shoot me an email to thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter @thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games that I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.